This is Brianna
This is Maya.
with Moxie Lab, and today we are continuing our series on unpacking words. And today's word is civilized. We thought it was a really exciting word to explore because it's something that is pretty overall accepted as a good word, a good thing to be is civilized. And you had some challenges to that notion.
I think that my challenge with the word civilized is that we assume that civilized is good or better or the best or what we should all be pursuing. And I don't agree. A few weeks ago, there was a great piece of footage of a film crew filming over the LA basin. And there was a line of cars and they were all stuck in traffic. And apparently it was a particularly bad day, because why else would they be filming the traffic of LA? Everybody knows it's bad, but it literally went on for miles and miles to the end of the horizon. And I thought, that's our civilization. Like that's what we are aspiring to. That's what we tell other countries to do, is to be more like us. And what are we doing? We're spending 3 hours in our car every day? That doesn't sound very civilized.
So intriguing about challenging this concept of civilized is that what would it mean if we changed our relationship to that? The things we accept today as what is the civilized thing to do is the direction we want to go, and that the direction we should be pushing other people. Another question I have with it is, who defines civilized?
Right. Well, we kind of know, as our history books tell us. There's actually probably, how many courses on Western civilization those get clustered together. And if you look at a map of the world, there's a wide swath of the world where most of our, wider members of our global society live, and a lot of those countries have done a pretty thorough job of spreading out all over the planet, naming countries that they want to name, bringing their language to those other countries, asking or forcing people to assimilate to their style. And, we see a similar thing when we talk about democracy. We're bringing democracy to the world, but sometimes that seems like we're forcing democracy on folks, which seems incredibly like the definition of an oxymoron. I've been really interested in why do we keep that going? Because it's clear that our civilization right now is setting us on a pretty sad path. We're not taking very good care of our planet. We're not taking very good care of our people. And yet we've kind of cast aside all these other cultural traditions and communities and sovereign nations that provide a lot of wisdom for us.
What do you think would be possible if we could really challenge this word, and what would we embrace differently?
Well, I think that when we challenge the word around civilization, we're challenging the assumptions of the value. Actually, civilization is unsustainable for the people and the planet. And if we thought that maybe another definition of systems or a definition of rules or a statement of values might be more helpful. We have a lot of other examples of ways of running countries and families and communities that are more in harmony, are not based on maximizing the resources around us, and actually are more in concert with the landscape. And I think that even if people can't get their head around that as a total value statement, what they can probably consider is we aren't the only ones in town that set the rules, and there might actually be a way that's better than what we're doing. And just by challenging the multi-generational value statement around what we say civilization is, maybe we can see who else might need to be at the table.
One thing that I'm also curious about, we're talking now at the collective level. What about individuals? As an individual, what would it mean to accept that civilized might not always be the right word to describe what is the way to be?
I can only speak to my own experience, but what I am fascinated by as a white woman was, at what point in my family did we become disconnected with nature? At what point did we value industrialization over a more harmonious relationship with the natural environment? At what point in my family's history did that happen? Because within myself, I'm told to value that which civilization offers, which is that I've got to work hard, that I got to be successful, that I need to have a nice car, whatever the things are, versus I spent 4 hours sitting next to a tree and I managed to get my hands dirty in the soil, and I know what crops come at different times of year, and I know what native plants present themselves at various seasons, that's a whole other way of having value in the world. And I think that challenging that within ourselves also might help us find the sustainability within ourselves. Because I feel like that's where it has to start when we're having these conversations. Because if we're overriding our own needs in the name of civilization within ourselves, or we're using that value system to rule our own lives, then of course we're going to do that with everybody else. Right. And we're going to expect that from the folks that work in our companies, or our friends, or the countries we lead, or the countries we invade. Yeah, it applies to all of that.
It sounds like there's a lot to unpack in this word. Oh. Thank you for sharing that, and I think we'll keep unpacking some of these concepts maybe in other ways as well through our series on Unpacking Words.
Thanks for joining us. This is Moxie Lab.